Hey Sarah, it's Monday, so that means it's time for another video. So today's topic is diabetes, a brief overview, or what even is diabetes? So a lot of you watching probably already know what type 1 diabetes is, because you might already have it. Or you know someone who does, or you're just Sarah watching this video over and over and over again. And the last one is probably accurate. But for those of you who don't know what diabetes is, we'll give you a nice little baseline so when we talk about it, you'll know what we're talking about. Here we go. Alright, so type 1 diabetes, as described by mayoclinic.org, is a chronic condition in which the pancreas produces little or no insulin, which is a hormone needed to allow sugar to enter cells to produce energy. You got it? Okay, cool. Okay, so a lot of people when describing diabetes use the lock and key metaphor, which I'm going to use as well. So imagine that your cells are a classroom. So in this classroom, it's a lecture hall classroom, and there's like 200 students per class. So there's this lecture hall, and it's about 10 minutes before class starts. So all of the students are in the hallway, and the students are the sugar. So the sugar really needs to get into the cells, and the students really need to get into the classroom. But the professor isn't there. The professor is insulin, and insulin comes on in, the professor comes on in and unlocks that door so the students, the sugar, can get into the classroom, the cells, and function properly and keep your body going. So think about it this way. If the professor, the insulin, does not come in to unlock the door, then the sugar gets stuck in the hallway or the bloodstream, and your blood sugar gets too high and things can't function properly because other students can't get by the sugar to make your body function correctly. So that's type 1 diabetes. That's insulin-dependent diabetes, which used to be known as juvenile diabetes, but surprise, adults can get it too. Let's sort of look at the big picture here. What does that mean if you have type 1? How do you unlock doors if your body doesn't have a professor? So what happens is, because there is no, let's go back to our metaphor, since the professor isn't present, there is no professor. We forgot to hire one. Oh God! We have to, find adjunct faculty. Outsource, if you will. So for the students to be able to get into the classroom, we need to find a professor from another location because, oh no, our school doesn't have any. So that's where insulin comes in. Okay, so insulin. Because my body does not produce insulin, I have to get it from a man-made source, and that comes in the form of these little vials here. Now, insulin serves as that key to that lock to let the sugar into the cells, right? So, and my body doesn't make it. People with type 1, they don't make it, or they make so little of it that it just doesn't matter. There's 2 kinds of insulin. No way! So there are 2 kinds of insulin. There is my handy dandy rapid acting insulin, which I use Humalog, and the handy dandy long acting insulin, and I use Lantus. There are different kinds of insulins. They all do the same thing. If they're rapid acting, they act rapidly. And if they're long acting, I think it's like 24 hours. So the differences of long acting and rapid acting insulin are these. You need to keep a baseline of blood sugar, throughout the entire day. That's this guy. This guy you take once a day, and he keeps your blood sugar kind of stable. Now this guy is when you eat food or when your blood sugar is too high, because you probably didn't give it to yourself when you ate food. So rapid acting is like foods and stuff, and long acting is once a day, keeps you at a baseline. But Carrie, what if I use an insulin pump? Great question! There are 2 ways to administer insulin, through injection or through, I just dropped it, through your pump. Now I use an insulin pump, but other people do use injections, either through a syringe or through what is called a pen, and I don't have any of those. The difference between that, with an insulin pump, all you got is rapid acting. But because it is an insulin pump throughout the day, in the background, it gives me what would be the long acting with rapid acting. Does that make sense? Maybe. So with the pump, you only have to use this guy. But if you're on injections, you do use the long-acting and the rapid-acting together. You don't mix them together, that would be bad. So throughout the day, you want to check your blood sugar. We all check our blood sugars. You're supposed to do it like 4 to 8 times a day, and I probably do, so that's good. All right, so you check your blood sugar, and I use my One Touch Ultra Mini. And I'm not going to check it for you because I'm probably high right now, which has been a thing today, and that sucks. But I don't want to embarrass myself on the YouTubes, so I'm just going to show you that. Each person has an individual range. When you're younger, the range of blood sugars can be like larger, but as you get older, you want to rein that in. And so my range is 80 to 120. I want my blood sugar to be between that. And if it's too high, I take insulin through my handy dandy, it's upside down, insulin pump. And if it's too low, I need to eat something because there is not enough sugar to keep my body going. High blood sugar, you take insulin, and low blood sugar, you eat something. I don't have any food with me. I have glucagon, which is a good segue, I guess. In the event that your blood sugar gets too low, you can pass out. That's no good. You can also get to the point where you can't eat things, you can't swallow. It's not a good circus to go to. And in that event, you have glucagon, and it is a rapid-acting sugar that is injectable. Put this guy in this guy and shake it all up and you shove it in your thigh and hopefully you don't die. In my 16 years of having diabetes, I've never had to use glucagon. So there's that. But again, that's not necessarily something that's like normal. I know people who've had it for a really long time and have had to use it. So everybody's different. Everybody's diabetes affects them differently. And that goes with mentally too. Which is a whole nother ballgame that we'll get into some other time. So that is diabetes in a nutshell. I think I covered everything. Super basic, super basic, super basic. If anything doesn't make sense and I need to reshoot part of this video, please let me know. Diabetes.